Welcome, everyone, back to the College Hockey News Insider Podcast Summer Series. We are on coach number 3 now of 6. Eric Rud played for Colorado College back in the day, has spent many years coaching, most recently an assistant coach at St. Cloud State, where that head coaching job was at Brett Larson, who went to Minnesota. We talked to him first in our series. And then the new head coach at St. Cloud was Nick Oliver, who was the second coach we talked to in our series. Eric Rud decided to take the head coaching job at Alaska Anchorage, and we caught up with him. Let's welcome in Eric Rud, the new head coach of Alaska Anchorage. And, Coach, I guess still moving. I mean, it's a long move from Minnesota to Anchorage. How's that going?
The way I explain it is I'm not a jigsaw puzzle person, but I watch people do it, and you know how you get the frame, the outline done first, and then you start putting the little pieces in the middle. We're almost done putting the pieces in the middle. You have to plan a little bit, but it's been super fun. I mean, the process has been great. I just drove up one of our cars last week, the 3,200-mile trek, and it was absolutely stunning, beautiful. I mean, it was one of the coolest things I've ever done. So it's going good, all good.
Yeah, I mean, well, I thought people say I'm crazy because I drive from Denver back to our family in New York a couple times a year. That's 24 hours, so about 2,000 miles. So you got me beat on that.
One thing I'll tell you is if you get a flat tire outside of Cleveland making that trip, it's a lot easier than getting a flat tire outside of Whitehorse.
Yeah, no kidding.
That did happen in the middle of nowhere. It just added to the adventure. So it was, that was a little a different deal when you see the flat and you look down in the rearview mirror and the tire's shredded, and you look around and there is nothing for quite a few miles. So it was scary for a minute and then exciting. I mean, you're in the middle of the Yukon. It was beautiful, just a life adventure. My grandfather worked on the Alaska pipeline for years up in the Fairbanks area and all over the North Slope. So it was kind of cool. My mom sent me some pictures of the old Chevy truck with tires hanging all over it just in case of a flat. So I guess I'm just following the history of my family.
That's right. Be prepared. That's amazing. Well, if you were near Whitehorse, you could have gotten Gavin McKenna's family to help you out. But
that's true. I could have made a phone call, see if he could. I think he was a little busy last weekend.
Yeah, right. Well, it's been a long and winding road to get where you are, and you have been a head coach, obviously, in college hockey in the women's side, St. Cloud, for a number of years before returning to men's hockey. I guess you went to Miami after that. And then I think you did some head coach in the USHL as well. So, I mean, it's not like you've never been a head coach before. Yeah. So, I mean, you feel like, I assume all those things have prepared you for where this will be.
Well, I feel like I've been one of the luckiest guys in college hockey, to be honest, or just hockey. I shouldn't say college because junior's been a big part of my career too. And I've been so fortunate with the people that I've worked with, the head coaches, assistant coaches, all the staffs. I mean, if you look past in my track record, I've been able to learn and collaborate with so many amazing coaches that yes, I feel like it has prepared me for this stop. The best coaches are usually the best thieves because this year everyone's going to follow whatever the Carolina Hurricanes did last year, and I've been lucky enough to work personally with some of the best in the business, going back to Mark Carlson in Cedar Rapids and Scott Owens and Bob Motzko, Chris Bergeron, and now Brett Larson in terms of head coach. Worked with. They're all amazing in so many different ways. I feel like I've had a master class behind the scenes in terms of how to run programs, and now I'm excited to put it all together here.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, you played at Colorado College, so you played for Don Lucia, which is another, and you were there during really a heyday of Colorado College hockey, obviously. Going to the '96 National Championship game. I don't know if you want to be reminded of that, but it was a great run until the overtime there. At that time, I was covering ECAC hockey, so Vermont could say the same thing.
For sure.
That story comes up quite a bit about the whole hand pass game and all that stuff for my friends back east.
What hand pass? What are you talking about? What hand pass?
Was that you in the crease,
I want to see video
by the way?
proof of this elusive hand pass I hear about.
Were you on the ice for that goal?
I was not. I was
Oh, okay. I
not.
thought I remembered. Yeah, okay. I was trying to remember who was on the ice for that, but
I don't. You know what? I guess I shouldn't say I was not. I know I wasn't for the next game when we lost in overtime, the
yeah, yeah,
national title game, but I guess I could have been on the ice for that one.
well, that whole '96 game, regardless of who won or lost, is such a infamous moment in college hockey history. Every fan you talk to, if they've been around as long as I have, brings that up as the unfrozen pond game. So, what were
Well,
just your memories of that?
when we were in overtime, I don't remember if it was after. I just remember at some point in overtime they said, "All right." Well, no, it was after the first overtime. They said,
Yeah.
"Well, we're putting 10 minutes on the clock. If we don't get it done in 10 minutes, we're finishing it tomorrow."
Wow.
Because the ice was leaking so bad, and it was, it was a great game back and forth. It was what college hockey's all about. I mean, that whole tournament was amazing. I'm just so lucky to be a part of it. And
Yeah.
yeah, we had such great teams when I was in college. And to be honest, because of my college playing experience, it was why I wanted to get into coaching and stay around it
Yeah.
and do this because I was so fortunate to have those amazing experiences athletically, academically, in so many ways. And now my old coach Don Lucia is my neighbor. He lives 2 hours down the road on
That's
the
right.
Kenai Peninsula. I'll have to be get ready for the Rud family to show up on his dock to catch some salmon here in the next few weeks.
I was going to say, not to dwell on my Vermont guys very long, but every time I've talked to Don Lucia about that game, he always is free to admit that because again, like I saw a lot of Martin St. Louis and Eric Perrin back then, and I think there was still such an East-West divide that people out west did not know how good they were until that game started. You know, I mean, how quickly did you realize, like, oh my God, we got our hands full with these guys, like, because you
Well,
didn't see that stuff back then. There was no internet and whatever.
no, no. So all of a sudden you show up and these guys just dominate. I mean, it was the best line we played against all year, and we were the number one team in the country a lot of the year that year. So we
Right.
saw everyone, and all of a sudden that game started. And I know college hockey has changed now, and now if we don't have seven defensemen, oh my God, we can't make it through a
Yeah.
game. Well, then we basically played four. So every other shift, I was against those guys, or one of our pair was against those guys to try to
Yeah.
shut them down the whole game. So I remember
Yeah.
being exhausted after the game. Is what I remember.
Yeah, no. But hey, you guys had plenty of good guys yourself as well. Peter Geronazzo, obviously. The list is long, but in any event, so like you said, that sort of spurred you into. You did play for a bit though after that. I know you. One another connection that you played for the Florida Everblades, which was owned by or might still be owned. I don't know. Craig Brush, who is a
Yes.
Cornell alum, and
Yep.
I did radio for Cornell for a while, and I also did radio for Princeton. His son Matt played at Princeton in the '90s as well. So
So
I don't know how well you
Matt
got
and
to
I
know those
played
guys.
together in junior hockey in the Des Moines
Okay,
Buccaneers days. So Matt, we were teammates there, and then we were teammates with the Florida Everblades. So
right.
yes, Mr. Brush has been an awesome leader down there for many years with that organization, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I got to play 5 years after college. Just had a great time. Met so many people. My first two kids were born while I was playing, so they got to grow up in the locker room a little bit. So I feel really fortunate for all that hockey has done for me and my family. That's for sure.
Coaching the women's team at St. Cloud. I mean, just any men's player or coach who I've talked to who then goes to coach the women, like Brian DeRocher did, and obviously Mark Johnson and whatnot. I mean, it's a long list at this point. Always has glowing things to say about how it's helped you learn and grow as a person, as a coach. I mean, just talk about that experience.
I'll echo the same thing. I thought it was an amazing 5 years. A side note to that, my daughter was going through the process at the same time. She ended up going to Cornell and having a great
Oh
experience.
wow,
So I was really fortunate because the tournaments in Burlington, Vermont, in Stony Creek, all these places, I got to go with my daughter, recruit, and she got to play. So, the bond I forged with my own daughter during that time was amazing, and I loved my time coaching the women's program here at St. Cloud State. It was so much fun. It was just great people, and yes, I mean I learned a lot about communication, and I learned that I was poor at it, and even while that I think I've learned more after that, even thinking back.
Yeah. Yeah.
that I wish there's things that I left on the table, and I think that's everyone. And I know people say it all the time, but our young women at St. Cloud State competed hard, or as hard as any men's group I ever was around. I mean, just awesome. They were
Yeah.
into it. They cared the same. There was no difference. I learned a lot, and I really had a great experience, and I feel very fortunate that I got to have that.
And Cornell's coach Doug Dara, another one. He played while I was at Cornell in the late '80s and the '90s. There's many ex men's players who are in college hockey coaching for the women's side. But in any event, but in terms of going to Alaska, now let's touch on that. I mean, a beautiful part of the country, as you mentioned, does have its challenges. Obviously, just where it is in terms of keeping up with everybody else. So, some would say like, are you crazy like taking that job? Because it's been tough to keep players, to keep coaches. What was your thought process or motivation to say, hey, I want
Well,
that job?
I think that there's challenges everywhere. This is a different challenge, but Michigan State, was it 10 first rounders a couple days ago, or
Yeah.
right now on their roster? Okay, well, in a
Yeah.
year from now, they're going to have a challenge. Now, I know they can replace them with similar type players, but not always. So, there's challenges there also. I mean, so I think that's any part of life is when you look at it. You look for the positives. I mean, we have a bunch of really hungry young guys that want to play as long as they possibly can, get better, enjoy the process. It's no different than anywhere else. Like I've been talking to our guys, and they're awesome. They're all excited for something new. Not once has it come up that, oh, hey coach, we play an independent schedule. And if it has, it's a positive. We get to go play Denver, Minnesota, Michigan, Colorado College, Miami this year. I mean, down the line, our schedule is awesome. So, I mean, if you're a competitor and want to play at the highest level and want to get to where you want to go, it can happen here just as it can happen anywhere else in terms of individual players. And the team dynamic is the same everywhere. Kids want to be a part of something that's fun, positive, helps point them in the right direction of life. I mean, I'll go back to where I started a little bit before. The reason I wanted to get into coaching is because I know what it's done for me personally. I was a squirrely kid that couldn't sit still, and athletics kept me in a realm that kept me sane and going in the right direction. And that's still what we do all the time. I'm really excited for the challenge and all that it brings.
Yeah. No, I got you. And obviously having that independent tournament that they started last year helped give guys something to play for at the end of the
Yes.
year, which has been great. Have you talked to? I mean, I assume you have, but I mean, how much have you talked to Eric Largent at Alaska and the other coaches that are on the indie teams, just on where that all stands and what you're hoping for with all that going forward here?
Yeah, you know what? There's been a little communication so far. I've been busy running around, and everything's pretty much set for next year. I know we'll have more discussions as we move forward in terms of the teams that are in this position. Like I said, there's advantages and disadvantages, and we'll keep learning them as we go along.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, there's plenty of players out there. There's plenty of opportunity for to get players to come to Anchorage. It's not like that's impossible or anything. But I think not just for you guys. I'm saying this in general. I think every coach I talk to says just retention these days is just the biggest challenge with the way that the transfers is so wide open. So what can you do in that regard? I mean, is that just one of those things you have to live with these days that you're not going to have the player for 4 years if they're any good, really?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's no different anywhere now. Kids want to play. They want to be in positions where they feel like they can improve. The transfer portal, I believe, is here to stay. So, I mean, you can stick your head in the sand and pretend it doesn't exist, or just roll with it. And I think that's what our plan is. We'll try to stay in great communication with our players and find out what their intentions are, which is fine. And they have options now, and kids at other schools have options. And I think if you're doing things the right way, and if the word gets out, then it's good. And the one thing in talking to our players here coming back for next year, our guys love it there. They love where they live. They love the setup. They love the community. They love how they're treated. Everyone in that town cares. It really is a special program in a lot of ways that I think is just waiting for the next chapter to kind of start. And obviously, with COVID and there was a bump there, and it's hard to get things back on track. And I think we're in a good place. I think the administration that I've talked to are all on board and really care about the program and know that it's a big part of the school. So I just see a bunch of positive things moving forward, and very excited.
Yeah, and it means it. Like I said, I think when my friend Brad Schlossman just came out with an article today talking about how most of the coaches were wrong to worry about the opening of the CHL to NCAA. It's been nothing but a boon, really, which is amazing. I mean, does it amaze you how fast the mindset of the college hockey player has changed from CHL or NCAA to CHL then NCAA?
It's an interesting question because, yes, there was a lot of unknowns, and everyone was kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. And I think all of us in college hockey knew that once a few guys came down and kind of understood what it was. I think people talking about they play less games and spend all their time in the weight room. We heard that a lot about from the CHL, and obviously we know that the development in college hockey is first class, and that's been proven over and over. So I think as these next 2 years unfold, there'll be a streamlined process of how it works. I don't think there'll be as many kids committing right now, top players waiting. I think that'll happen a little more kind of what we're used to. So, I mean, the great thing is there's just more talent in the pool. The amount of players all over the world now that can play at this level is staggering. It's awesome. And now it's going to be good for all of us to share in that.
I mean, I think at first, obviously, and maybe hopefully it's thawing a little bit, the CHL major junior coaches were like, hey, don't come near my guys, right? But now maybe they see like it's better to have a relationship. What have you found from just your travels and talking to, if you have any major junior coaches with that?
Well, I'll say last year it was both. It was get out of our rink or come on in. We understand the way this is going to work. So I think it's been all over, which is natural when there's change. I know in the CHL there's so many good guys, and everyone wants the same thing ultimately. I mean, obviously they want to keep their guys a year or two longer. We do. Everyone's the same. When you have talented kids, you want them around as long as possible. But I think ultimately we just have to be thankful when high-end players pass through our program and help them along the way. And I think if we're all on that page, good things will happen for all of us. And I think that's where we're at now. I think you're seeing it already becoming merging together and working together, and we'll see that more and more. And yes, for us, being out west just a little farther than other people, I mean, having Western Canada very close to us is great. I mean, it is an opportunity for there are a few places that are closer to Anchorage than they are to Boston, so there's a few guys that can stay closer to home and play college hockey.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, it's just a little crazy these days. Now, all of a sudden, the places you have to recruit have doubled.
It is, but it's been fun. Different things. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, so I know the roads to pretty much everywhere, and now I'm learning some new roads, and it's been fun. A lot of new people, and I think it's great for the sport. You really see. Now when you watch a National Hockey League game, they're talking about colleges just like they do in the NFL, And I think that's great for, obviously, hockey in the United States to see that college recognition, see those guys translate into pro, where before I think people were confused. A kid comes from Regina or Saskatoon, a person in St. Louis doesn't know where that is, but they understand colleges. And I think, not that anyone has to, people can still come from anywhere, their path can be whatever. But I do think that's exciting for the growth of our sport overall across the globe, really.
We don't have all of the schedules in yet, but just what I've entered, you've got Denver up there, right, for the opening weekend. That should be fun.
We go Denver and then to Michigan the next weekend. So that's how we start. So that'll be a great way to see where we're at.
Not too shabby, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, of course, the entire Denver coaching staff with Alaska Connection, so they're
Yes, you
usually
know
quick
they're going to
to
come back
schedule
every
that.
year and be or as
Yeah,
much as possible, and they know it's important for college hockey to come up and bring a team like Denver to our community. The people up in Anchorage appreciate it. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that are excited to bring in top programs. It's a big deal there. We're just thankful that people are coming up.
and what percentage is back at Sullivan Arena now
Well, we're
of the
working on that
games, home
in
games?
terms of we know we'll
Yeah.
play Denver there and Colorado College. I think
Okay.
we're slated for 6 games for sure, and then we're working on more and more. We'll
Yeah.
see how that goes. I think there was positive momentum when we played their games there last year, so I think that's a great thing for our program, the community, everything.
These are all the things you got to worry about now when you're, head coach again. Schedules, arena. It's hard to just
I
coach
know
the
there's
team.
part of it
You
when
got
your
all this
assistant
stuff
coach
going.
is nice. When these conversations start,
Yeah.
you just say, I got to get on the road and get on a plane somewhere. Now I got to answer those
Yeah.
questions,
Right.
which is why I guess you can do
What
it at
is
this
well, how,
point. So now with all this experience I have, I should have all the
yeah.
answers,
Right.
right?
I mean, it's funny because you see all the high. It's getting back to the recruiting thing for a second. Like you mentioned, Michigan State. I mean, you see all the high-profile names going to certain schools, but also people don't see like the hundreds of other guys from major junior going other places, right? I mean, so do you think it's been a net positive, or I mean, obviously you have to deal with it either way, but I'm just curious if you think overall it's been good for everybody, or is it just those high-end schools that are taking advantage of this?
Well, I do think it's good for everyone ultimately. We want the best athletes on the ice at any given time that we possibly can get. I mean, that's what we want to be the standard of guys where they want to come before they move on to their pro careers. And obviously college has proven that route is a good route. So the more high-end players, the better. And now what's interesting is you can kind of pick your poison in recruiting. You don't have to spend all your time in the CHL. You don't have to spend all your time in the USHL. There's all kinds of other avenues to recruit. Obviously, those have been the places where typically all the top guys have gone, but guys have to go somewhere before they get there too. So everyone's development path is different, and we have so many great junior leagues all over the place that are producing players. You can kind of decide and go wherever you want and pick and choose. So I think it does. It's great to have more options when you head out recruiting on the weekend.
Yeah, there'll probably be a lot of guys now that are overlooked.
Yes.
Maybe at the BCHL or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Where you
absolutely.
can say,
There's
hey,
guys that,
yeah,
especially, I always hate the word late bloomer because it doesn't really matter
yeah,
when you get to where you're supposed to be. Everyone grows at a different rate. We have these, junior hockey, you can play it till you're a certain age. Everyone's, but everyone develops at a different point physically. The good thing is there is room at a lot of different levels for guys to keep improving. So I think that's just going to keep getting better and better. The pipeline is everywhere now, which is fun.
like you said, you've played for so many or worked with so many great coaches, but the most recent one was Brett Larson, who obviously not in Minnesota. I don't know what kind of conversations you had with him during all of this was going on, or if you just kind of, didn't
Well,
want to butt into what he was doing. But
it was going on at the same time. He was in the
yeah,
process of leaving, and then this happened, and Nick was on the process of coming in. So I was
right,
kind of in between. We were trying
right.
to do all our stuff here, and anyway, Brett and I have had some great conversations. He's a great person. We're looking to keep them on the schedule as much as possible as we go forward. I think that's a good thing for everyone. And it's interesting having talks with him. There's challenges everywhere, whether you're a blue blood program or you're anywhere else, and that was good for me to hear
Yeah,
because and we all know that's the way life is. Your biggest stress is wherever you're at, whatever your situation is. So Brett and I have continued to have a great relationship, and I look forward to continue that. And now hopefully you help me find some players. We'll take some of their guys that they don't want.
yeah, right. like you said, everyone's got their own pressure. It's not like, oh, you're at Anchorage and he's in Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota, he's got to deal with all those pressures too. So
Yeah,
we know what that's
exactly. And,
like.
and the bottom line, we all want to do a great job. We all want our kids to have a great experience. And that here in Anchorage, that's the thing that we want to have a blast every day, coming to the rink, getting better in a fun, positive environment. That when you're having the most fun, that's the way it goes. And, there'll be ups and downs, wins and losses. But in the end, we're all doing the same thing.
All right, that'll wrap up this version of the College Hockey News Insiders podcast, Summer Series number 3, with Eric Rud, the new coach at Alaska Anchorage. We got 3 more to go, all Ivy Leaguers at Brown, Harvard, and Yale. So stay tuned for that. See ya.